YouTube video, but I feel like this is what is saving my life along with the Most High, but it's allowing me to also relate to so many people. And I know that there's a lot of fake people out here, and I talk to the fake people too, because you can learn something from a fool as well, especially if he's aligned with the same people who are against you, you know. So you befriend an enemy and you'll learn something, and that's why the Bible says you can use your enemies, he'll use your enemies as a footstool, and that's not always in the way that we assume it to be, of course. That's why the Bible says his ways aren't our ways, his thoughts aren't our thoughts, because those are definitely true. And so, and me just dealing with my family, I think that's the root. I think if you don't, you know, a lot of people I know, seems like gang stalking, spiritual targeting has kind of shifted, and it kind of, you know, for those who kind of been aware and alert around the same time, it seems like we kind of shifted with, it's weird to say this, but as we listen to each other, it's kind of like some of us have shifted in our ideas and our realizations. And one of them being is that we no longer are kind of thinking of this as being the hands-on as it is, as much as the spiritual aspects as it is with the family. And, you know, my thing is, they try to make you look, thank you, Most High, they try to make you look at all these other distractions, right? Oh, it's somebody you pissed off, or it's your behavior, or it's your actions. And one thing I want you guys to grasp is we're dealing with lunatics here, all right? Don't take anything away from it. I don't care how good they look, right? How relatable they may seem. We're dealing with lunatics, what people refer to as narcissists. I think that's a cliche. It's being thrown around so easy, although it is true and it applies to them. I think that the level of the severity here, I think, causes for a heightened definition, and that could only be defined as a lunatic. So when you're dealing with your family, and I'm using that in quotations, double quotations, right? When you're with these programmers, the ones that they have tried to condition you, right? You have to understand that everyone around you were conditioned, right? But they weren't conditioned with the, basically, lame terms, they were made aware of the knowledge of the laws of this world and how they really work. So that's the inside, right? That's the information that they brag about, is knowing that Satan runs this world, and they may know about reptilians because they may be one themselves, right? And most of the time, the information they know is because they can relate to it, right? So the demonic aspect, the sadistic aspect, all of that, right? The manipulation behind Christianity, etc., right? And so because of that, you have to realize that they say it starts at the home, right? That's the foundation, and that's true, because where else would you really start to even grasp about life other than your home? And so they want you to look at, like, again, people that you've pissed off, etc. But that's not the case. The case is your family. Your family is to blame, 100%. And if you don't want to believe that, then that's on you, and that's fine. I don't think I was in denial, because my life and the way I was raised and things I went through, it kind of was closure for me as far as why I went through those things and why I felt the way I felt. And a part of that, you always hear narcissists tell you that once you realize who your abusers are, it's your responsibility to then grow from that. And then they actually are the conspirators, and the participators of the bullshit of their own oppressors. So them and themselves is a contradiction, because you're telling me to get over something that I don't even fully comprehend. Yet you not only conspire with those who created this, but you also lying along with them. And so therefore, you shouldn't really take advice for anyone that you don't know. And that's why, you know, the whole terminology of a sheep in wolf's clothing. Well, that starts off at the house. So your family is the ones that program you. I still to this day won't claim to have been MK Ultra'd. That's not something that I claim. I feel like there's power where they are. The Bible says there's power in the tongue. And so that's nothing that I'll claim. I'll never claim. Because I'm telling you, right, the way that they fancy this is that these people, right, come from these lavish lifestyles and quote-unquote humble beginnings. And you have to understand that these narratives are being created from the beginning. And that's the manipulation. Manipulation is the narrative in itself behind the people that they're promoting, which are then the people that you're idolizing. Okay? And once you grasp that, then now you have to then what? You have to create a reality or a narrative. And that's what they want you to do, but they want to control that narrative. Right? And you know where they're going to control that. And then so what they do is they'll then manipulate the Bible. And that's why you have a lot of people out here who are then speaking of the Bible. You see the police officer pass. That's why you see a lot of people speaking of the Bible in a metaphorical context, not as it literally happened. And that's a form of programming. And this is how I kind of validify things in life, right? These are how I kind of do equations. How I do equations, right? You see the police officer right there. How I do equations are very simple. I do my equations like, okay, well, if I were to actually not believe in something, would I address it to the magnitude that I'm currently addressing it, right? So if I didn't believe in Satan, why would I talk about him so frequently? Why would I make up hand signals to identify something that doesn't exist, right? Why would I put on a pedestal these things that don't exist, right? Same thing with the Most High, with the Bible. They spend so much time vilifying the Bible that it made me believe in it even more, because I'm saying to myself, you know, it's like your homeboy telling like, yo, this girl, her sex was trash or garbage, right? Not his girl, but a female. You know, fellas, if you know something like, you know, like that, this guy, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, damn, this is so bad. Like, I want to see, you know, what, you know? And that's kind of how that happens. Is sometimes, depending on your level of awareness and the type of person you are, you know, sometimes people may think that they're turning you off on a situation, and you know, inquiring minds like myself would actually be intrigued and actually want to see why this person found this to be trash, or you know, and that also along, you know, there's levels to that. But you know, my main thing is, you know, they like to say MK Ultra, they like to say this and that, but my main thing is, if you can identify with something that doesn't exist, what does that say about you and your mind frame and the stability or the lack thereof, right? I'm just being real here. If you can believe in something that doesn't exist, what does that say about you? Because these people certainly believe in Satan. They have a whole church for it. Their whole mantra is vilifying the Bible. Right? So if the Bible is not real, it doesn't exist, it's fictional, fictitious, right? Why spend all your time talking about it? You know, that's like me talking about tennis, and tennis didn't exist. People look at me like I'm crazy. What is this sport? What is he talking about? I've never seen it. What is tennis? What is he talking about? That may not be the strongest analogy, but you get the logistics, right? You get the foundation of what I'm saying, right? So, I've picked up those mobility vans too. They all have trackers on them too as well. But back to what I was saying. If you really break down the conditioning that your parents, right? We all have the same conditioning. I'm pretty sure if you really break down, and we all relate too, but I'm just saying, you really think about Just think about it for a second. Just think about how all of us were raised. Take away the race, take away the financial aspect. Just the foundation on how we were raised, right? And I'm pretty sure you'll realize that there were some levels of programming that were petitioned. I guarantee you. And so that's why I look at my family as, and this is another thing. And this is one thing that you have to think about. I've heard that they've had like insurance policies out on children and people. And I told you a story, like there was one time where when I was in school, and one of the kids were like, oh yeah, this guy is going to, oh, you're not going to even live long. Like, I remember them telling me this on the school bus. Like, I used to get bullied a lot. That's why my skin is so tough now. That's why I'm so able to just float and coast in life, because I dealt with that at an early age. I remember one of the kids in my school bus telling me, you're not going to live long, and you're not going to make it. And I just always, I kind of just aligned it with the rest of the bullying. Like, I just kind of like just put it in the category of them bullying me, you know what I mean? And now that I look at my life and I kind of see, I asked myself, I said, well, wow. Were my parents, did they plan to kill me? Was I a sacrifice to Satan? Surely my grandfather was a Mason, all right? So I'm just saying to myself, like, is this true? Like, did my family mean to sacrifice me? And if that's the case, I have a lot to think about. That's really how I look at it. I have a lot to think about. A lot. Because what does that say about me? What does that say about me? I can't just go around here and let my family just walk around here like, oh, well, we didn't sacrifice you, so you should be happy. You should be happy we didn't sacrifice you. You know what I mean? Because that's how they treat me. They treat me like, well, just be glad that, you don't know anything. To be continued.